Welcome to the Network Build Grow podcast, the show where business owners, entrepreneurs, and professionals share their stories, lessons learned, and powerful strategies for building relationships and growing their circle of influence. With Melissa Taylor, your host, each week we'll bring you actionable insights to help you build a better network and a better business. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Network Build Grow podcast. We are here today with Miss Sandy Bild of Build a Better Business. Welcome to the show, Sandy.
Thank you, Melissa. I'm glad I'm here.
Absolutely. So we met, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 months ago. Is that about right?
Well, it's been longer than that.
Has it been longer than that?
Yeah. Almost, I think a little bit over a year, but it sure's gone fast. Seems like it's only been a few months.
Oh my gosh. I had no idea it had been a year. So when I met you, it was through a networking thing, which is amazing. So tell me a little bit about your business. But when you tell us about your business, tell us why you love your business, what you love about it as you're telling us about it.
Well, I love my business because I've been a real estate agent for many, many years before. And I really enjoyed doing the designing and the back end of it better than I did going face to face and talking to people and selling properties. So I thought, well, I still love real estate and I want to be able to participate in it. And I always saw agents that just weren't marketing themselves. And that is how come I thought, well, I can do that and I can help them market themselves. And so I get to work out of my home and then I get to go networking and have all sorts of fun and enjoy it.
That's so great. So tell me, when you were, let's start with when you were a real estate agent, you probably used a lot of networking in that business. And of course, now you use a lot of networking in your current business, which is helping realtors do their network, their marketing. How has networking not only helped you in the first business, but helped you transition into your next business?
When I was a real estate agent, I would be going to, I was just very involved in the community. I was in the church and I was in the commerce and that. And I would also connect with attorneys and I would always be getting referrals. So I was doing more getting business by referrals than I was actually advertising, print advertising and things like that. So, but I would just be around people and talk to them and get their confidence and their trust. And because selling a house is huge and you want to be able to trust who you work with.
Yeah.
And that comes over to that I can actually talk to anybody about anything. And that helps with the networking. And I always try to find something that we have something in common.
Yeah.
And that's very helpful when you find that little nugget that's how you can build your bond with who you're networking with.
You know, I love that the first thing you said was that you were involved with your church and with commerce. And you didn't go straight to like networking groups. Because I think a lot of people forget that everything we do is really networking.
Yes.
From women's groups, clubs, bridge clubs, the gym, like all of it.
Yes. And what I find, even going out into the, into public here as someone that does marketing, I can still find something I can connect with somebody with. And of course, everybody knows a real estate agent. And so they go, oh yeah, and so I get introduced that way. And it's still with that referral, somebody that already knows them introduces somebody or me to them and builds up that trust already.
Yeah, I love that. And you said another thing I think is brilliant, which is that you're not necessarily networking for your client. You're really networking for the trust of individuals for the referral.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have their trust, you're not going to get the referral because their referral represents them.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love your dog peeking out
from
behind you there. No, I love that. For those of you that aren't watching the video of this, she does work from home, which is part of the joy of what you love about your business. And her little dog is perched up looking out the window, which is lovely. I love that. So tell me, you do marketing
Yes.
for real estate agents primarily.
Primarily.
What kind of marketing do you do for them? And do you also do the same type of marketing for your own business?
Yes, I do. One of the main things that I have like a packet is doing newsletters, sending out to my database. And so I do monthly newsletters, and I also have monthly newsletters for my clients also.
These are digital newsletters.
Those are digital, yes.
Okay.
But they can be print if someone wants to print them and mail them out that way. But other marketing that I do is articles for their blog, which also can be brought over to their newsletters, and email sequences, nurturing contacts when they get them into their database, and website content.
Okay, so a lot of content.
A lot of content. A lot of design.
Content. Okay.
Content with designs, with pictures, with color, because it's got to be attractive as well as meaningful.
Yeah, attractive, meaningful, valuable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So with your clients, do you go into kind of for lack of a better word, the strategy of networking or meeting people, sending them through an email series, or when you shouldn't put them on a newsletter list? Do you kind of talk about those strategies with your clients?
When they're open to it, a lot of them aren't. I have to kind of nurture them to become that way, because, some of the mindset is that they can do it themselves. And so you have to kind of like introduce it softly. You can't go in with a, big stick and hit them over the head. So
they kind of know what they want, and they come to you thinking they know what they need, but then you kind of maybe shift the sands for them.
Yeah. Then I guide them, because that's the same thing with like the newsletters. I've really grown their base with different newsletters, and adding things to their newsletters that they can show off and send to prospects. And so, which is helpful.
Okay, great. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit more about networking and how you use it in different ways. We've talked about how you network everywhere you go. So it doesn't necessarily have to be at a quote unquote business networking group.
Right.
What do you do after you do go to a business networking group or even a social group, but you meet somebody who you feel like might be a good connection for you? What's one of the first kind of things that you do with that connection?
Well, first off, I put it into my CRM.
Good answer. Good answer.
Yeah. Then mark when I've met them and what kind of things that sparked. And then I immediately reach out to them. It could be a postcard. It could be a little greeting card. I always have greeting cards, and I'll write them a little note.
In the actual mail.
Mail. Yes.
Love it.
I find that really, they like that. They like the handwritten notes and
I love getting handwritten notes.
Yeah. I do.
Because the rest of it's just junk.
It is. And then I just keep on following up if I have their phone number. And if it's a good connection, I feel comfortable with it, I'll send them a text, say, how you doing? I immediately also look for them on LinkedIn, and I build a rapport with them on LinkedIn, because I find it really easy to connect with people on LinkedIn. You can, number one, people expect you to be asking for a chat if you're networking on LinkedIn. And so you can ask for a chat, and then you do chat, and then, you reach out a little bit later and you chat again, or, and comment on what they post and things like that. And so, all just, again, building trust.
Yes. So let's talk about that for a second. The commenting on what they post. That is it's an art to set aside the time each week to intentionally go out and make a few comments on a few different connections posts. How do you track that? And how do you make sure that you don't let somebody slip through the cracks? And
it's going and marking it down on my link on my CRM,
Mhm,
and what we I actually copy the content and put it into the notes section of the
Oh,
CRM.
wow. You're very detailed.
Yeah, because you forget.
I forget. I forget 10 minutes after I did it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, or you get people confused, and that's embarrassing, and you don't
Yeah.
want to do that.
Mhm. Okay, great. So do you actually have on your calendar time to actually go out and do things on social media for connection
I try to do it every morning.
every morning? Okay.
Get up there,
Mhm.
get and just start, and it's also kind of fun when it's their birthdays,
Mm.
and you
Mhm.
get to, say happy birthday, and how you
Mhm.
doing, things like that. So
Yeah. So you try to make a habit of it in the
mhm.
mornings.
Yes,
Okay, great.
yeah, I'm better in the morning.
So what are some of your other kind of networking, fun things that you do that might be a little out of the ordinary?
Oh goodness. Sometimes I just do them automatically that you don't even.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
I know one that
I
you do.
what's
You do your pop buys.
I do pop buys. Yes.
I thought
Yeah.
that was the coolest name for something. And I had to ask you, what in the heck is a pop buy? Tell our listeners what a pop buy is.
Pop by is a little gift with a little cute little card with it.
Mhm.
It's like thank you for popping by, and you have like a little card that says thank you for popping by, and then you have like a little package of microwave popcorn, and you give it to them, and they remember, because you, of course, you have all your branding information on it,
Mhm.
and you just drop it off.
So you just go to their place of business
Yeah,
or wherever, and you just
wherever, or they're,
just
yeah,
you're
if
just
you're,
popping by.
yeah, you're just popping by, and just real quick, just, hi, just thinking of you, and I was, and
Wow.
you don't have to have any long conversation or anything like that, and then they're going to go,
Yeah, I thought that was such a clever thing to do. So, how do you determine, like, 'cause some of our listeners are going to be like, I can't afford that. I can't afford to do that for everybody. So, like, how do you where's that kind of mark of when that might be the next step for somebody?
I think it's, if you think that someone is on the fence and you haven't been able to pull them in yet, that's a
Mhm.
good time for a pop by.
For a
I,
client or a
I,
referral
I,
partner?
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Either
great.
way, yeah. Or if you really want somebody and you've had a really good conversation with them, that would
Mhm.
be another time you just, oh, I was just thinking of you, or and it can be, if they go to my website, they can get some ideas.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely share your website in the show notes because yeah, you definitely have some great content out there. All right, well, let's have some fun with some rapid fire networking questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, let me put on my reading glasses
Oh
because
dear.
it is getting I'm getting to that age.
Yeah.
All right. So how do you turn a casual connection into a meaningful relationship? We've talked about a few ways, but
Yeah.
give us an idea of some of those conversations that you have.
Like, um, kind of let my guard down,
Okay.
and kind of like start making, little humorous, little, so, getting them to laugh.
Okay.
And, we
So
all
kind of
have,
like if you open up first, they'll open
yeah,
up. Okay.
yeah. And so then then once they start laughing and opening up, then you can just really, again, get that connection going,
Hmm.
because, everybody likes to laugh.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. Here's one. What's a common mistake that you see people make when they're networking?
Oh, walking past somebody and not even, they're going over to somebody else, and somebody else they
Oh,
may not be getting their attention because they're focused on somebody else. And they, then
yeah. So kind of not really intentionally ignoring somebody, but kind of just,
not being aware of
yeah,
other
gotcha.
people that might be totally open to meeting them at that time.
Yeah. And, we talk a lot about that, especially when I talk to my speakers, because, I'm a speaker coach too, about an approachability factor.
Hmm.
And I think if you get, and it's not intentional, but you might get kind of laser focused on somebody across the room. So you could kind of start beelining towards them, which then if you do pass by, like you said, other people, you almost seem unapproachable.
Right.
Yeah. And then you kind of get this, like people you have this air about you that people think you're almost rude or stuck up or whatever.
Yeah. And I think that's, it's just creating the room, because it's easy to go over to somebody that you think that's going to be able to, that looks inviting, maybe not, and go past another person that is just, and they're open too.
Yeah.
So,
it's also easy to migrate towards the familiar faces.
Yes, it is.
And not necessarily, I intentionally try to actually walk up to people I've never seen before.
Yeah.
And say hello. So, okay, there's another rapid fire question for you. What's one of your opening lines when you're at a networking event to somebody you've never met?
It's usually real estate related.
Okay.
So it's always, how's your market?
That's fun.
Yeah. Or, it's hi, my name is so and so, is pretty much, again, how's your market? How are you doing?
Yeah.
And a lot of times if we're in a group and there's like lots of different agents, you ask them, what, if they're not wearing their little tag, you ask them like what company they're with. And then you usually know somebody there. And then you ask, kind of break the ice that way. And then
Gotcha.
Just start asking them about,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Last question, because you mentioned that you network anywhere and everywhere you go, because everything's really a networking opportunity. But if you're in a social environment, you don't really want to like bring up business all the time. But how do you kind of let people know what you do without letting people know what you do? Like, when does that do you just wait for the natural opening, or what do you kind of do in those situations?
It depends on what it is, but, they usually, when you're in kind of a social, environment, they always ask you, what do you do?
Yeah. A lot of them do.
Yeah. What do you do? Or they say, you're not retired yet? Go, no, I have my business. And so usually in that kind of a situation, they always ask you, what do you do? Or what, where do you work? Things like that. So that's,
that makes it easy. But if they don't,
if they're asking, sometimes that you can start in the back door by saying, oh, I was working on this really neat project. I was working, I've discovered AI, and this is all the things I do with AI. And
just kind of steer the conversation.
Yeah.
I love that. I was working on a project the other day, because then it kind of prompts them to say, oh, what was the project about? Well, I'm a real estate agent marketer. Yeah. That's kind of fun.
Yeah. And I think anymore now, if you start mentioning AI, that perks up people's ears, because a lot of them are either scared of it or they're not into it quite, and they're not sure what it does.
Yeah.
So if you start doing that, then it perks up their ears and they start getting asked questions.
Yeah, that's great. Well, this has been very fun.
Thank you.
Yes, I absolutely love this conversation. And real estate and probably real estate marketing is one of those very saturated markets. So networking is really important for that. And what you do is crucial to help those real estate agents stay top of mind. So best of luck to you. And we'll make sure everybody gets your information in the show notes. But again, it's Sandy Bild with Build a Better Business.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Network Build Grow podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow entrepreneur or professional. And of course, if you're not yet part of our community, visit networkbuildgrow.com to connect with us. Until next time, keep building and keep growing.